steal the larvae for their young. So they take the larvae from the honeybees, they kill all the honeybees, take their larvae, and then bring them back to their own hives where they feed their own young. So the way it works is a single murder hornet will go and sort of case the place and then go back to its hornet friends, and then all the hornets go back and they attack the hive and they kill all the bees. But since the murder hornets originate, from Asia, the Asian honeybees have actually evolved so that they can kill the hornets sometimes when that single hornet goes to check out the nest, or to check out the hive rather. And the way that they kill the hornet is they swarm it and cook it to death with their own body heat. So I share all this to say that when I read about this, and I watched a video online, which you can totally see if you Google it, this reminded me of what it means to be an aging woman. And I made that connection in this poem. For the body as murder hornets. Who among us hasn't wanted to kill the sweetest thing? Lick smoke and nut from our teeth, then rush that hive to take what's ours, gorge on sticky spoils. We are only rust gold and bright for so long, thorax of wing and unclaimed sky. And we're so tired of sucking the sap, bark-parched lips making do with sugar scraps. And we've got so many mouths to feed. They burrow inside the dark of our spleen, open tiny pincer-like jaws. Who hasn't felt that aching maw begging more, more? And who wouldn't risk it? Thick winged vibration, fire heat of slick abdomen. To be the danger again, a threat, red hot harm burning alive in the eye of the swarm. So my micro chapbook, This Body I Have Tried to Write, is largely about my experience with breast cancer and the reach that cancer has had across generations of my family and even across my circle of friends. So this poem is kind of like what I would consider an overview poem of that history, and it comes early on in the chapbook. That episode of 90210 when Brenda finds a lump. She, Kelly, and Donna do self-exams of their breasts, follow step-by-step instructions in an issue of some teen magazine on breast cancer awareness. 4 years before my mother's first diagnosis, 8 before her second, 4 springs and 1 fall before I sit with her in the waiting room of the oncologist's office, study an arrangement of tiger lilies, orange, black specked, my arm touching hers, and the thought that the whole room is dandelion spores might float away if not for tumor-thick blood. Brenda finds a lump 40 minutes before the kids at West Beverly take the SATs, 30 before Andrea removes her glasses in Steve's bedroom, before they make out on his bed. 12 years before a poet friend and I sip beer and cheap wine at the Reno Room, talk mutations, our family histories, the possibility of getting tested when, over AC/DC, through the clank and bang of pool balls, my friend yells, "I don't want to know." And I agree. 22 years before I repeat those words to my doctor. Before my friend's second pregnancy, her diagnosis, chemo treatments, bilateral mastectomy, the snatching of her ovaries. 28 years before my fingers brush a sharp-edged stone beneath my skin, before I start doing this math. 29 before my body breaks up with me, sheds itself clean. 27 winters before my cousin's stage 3, 29 before metastasis. Brenda finds a lump 20 summers before I meet my husband, 25 before my father slips from this life, 30 Februaries before the James Webb Space Telescope gets its first glimpse of galaxies more than 13.5 billion light years from Earth, before it calibrates and calibrates out there in space to bring before into focus. Brenda finds a lump and is fine in the end. It's never spoken of again. Okay, this one's called Red Buds. On the ceiling of the examination room, a red bud reaches across the sky, fuchsia pink ruffled arms. And I want to ask the ultrasound tech if all exam rooms look like this. She slides a transducer over the mass, and I ponder the possibility that the tree is no redbud, but its close cousin, Judas. This detail seems important. The first time when the doctor inserted the needle, I winced, not from pain, but subtraction. Each sharp click reducing me to specimen. I couldn't see the redbud then. Instead, on my side, I watched a needle pierce a black stone on the screen, wondered about its origins. Everything is of something. Every rot birthed from life, marrow of vibrant green, bright lemon. I take refuge in etymologies, in the lore of beginnings. Tender is from to reach, math on the matter of knowing. So I do tender math, try to solve for X. How much silver would it take for this body to betray itself again? There's no proof to explain undoing, no elegant sequence. But what I know is this: there are parts of me that want to be more, different from what they are. They're reaching for each other across my blood, arms outstretched like redbuds, ready to take that silver and run. So I'm really into etymology. I mean, as I mentioned in that last poem, yes, I take refuge in etymologies. Thanks, Brian. So yeah, I find that when I look up the origin of a word, it can lead me to really interesting places in my writing. So this next one is called Metastasis, and I knew that I wanted to write a poem called Metastasis before I even knew exactly what I was going to write. And I instinctively felt like that word probably had some interesting origins. And so, of course, now it means, the spread of disease. But in the original Greek, it had two meanings. One was transformation, and the other one was used in rhetoric when you jump from topic to topic. Metastasis was the transition in between the topics. And I thought, oh, that's so interesting. So both of those definitions inform this poem. Metastasis. Someone I love is dying, and that is why I'm at Home Depot in the grout aisle, unable to choose between charcoal and platinum, trying to decide if marked space between tiles is what I want. Our lives are a series of black gaps. Someone I love is dying, and this is what I say to myself, not knowing what it means. Today, a Ukrainian woman told Russian soldiers to fill their pockets with seeds, so sunflowers would grow from their dead bodies. And this is hope somehow, like paper cranes that dangle from the ceiling of the Todd Cancer Pavilion, where bold and breastless women wait to be called. And I want to know, when did cranes stop being birds? When is a thing no longer itself? 3,000 miles from here, in the Living Museum at Creedmoor Psychiatric Center in Queens, patients paint their demons, twist torment into wire sculpture, in the old kitchen hall, now art studio, across the street from Hillside Diner, a stainless steel lunch car I spent Saturday mornings as a child. Silver dollar pancakes, blueberry compote, my father's BLTs, someone I love is dying, and the sharp chalk of dinner mints spooned from the register's shiny tin bowl swirls on my tongue, where I turn the word metastasis, fold and crease it into a poem. And I wonder if this is what the Greeks meant by transformation. I tell myself it doesn't matter how things become other, that the dark space between is nothing more than some before now lost to us, that there is only what is. Hillside Diner is a Denny's. Paper cranes are not birds. There are flowers in bone just waiting to bloom. Oh, thanks. So just as that poem ends with bone. This one actually begins with bone. And the way that it came about is I, again, felt like I wanted to write a poem that incorporated the word bone. And so I opened up my etymology dictionary and I thought, I'm just going to follow this and see where it leads me. So I didn't really know where it was going to lead me until I finished the poem. And then I slapped a title on it. Poem starting with bone and ending with dandelion. Hard animal tissue, tusk, skeleton substance. From the Old English ban, archaic usage to curse, followed by the Old Norse bin, as in past participle of be, as in to exist, occur, occupy a place, and according to my doctor, where recurrence is most likely to happen, or occur again, or occupy a space not in any way related to arm or eye, foot or tooth, which shares its root with dandelion, from the French dent de lion, which literally means lion's tooth for its toothed leaves, folk name tell time, for the custom of blowing its white seed, the number of puffs corresponding to the number of the hour, correspond meaning to come together and respond. After they hollowed out my cousin's bone, the doctor said she had just 4 weeks left to live. I struggled to trace form and sense. What is 4 weeks? How many puffs of a dandelion spore is that? Okay, this is going to be my last one. I don't know if we have any Sopranos fans in the audience here, but yes, okay. All right, so you may get some of the references here. And if you don't know the Sopranos, that's okay too, but you really should watch it. Okay. I think of that Sopranos episode where time is a horse. How Ralphie sets it on fire, tries to kill time. How even after it's dragged away, all limp hooves and singed fur, chained bones beneath a burlap blanket, it snakes its way through the paddock dirt to Tony's dream, where he rides it backwards in his living room, tells Carmela he wants to come home. And she says there are some non-negotiables, that the horse must go. When I ask my husband if he thinks time exists off Earth, he says we'd not only have to leave the planet, but the universe to escape it. And I think of that verb tense in Italian for a hypothetical in the past, the grammar of impossibility, and how last night when my cousin came to me still alive, I tried to tell her I'd heard there was nothing to fear, that she shouldn't be scared. But my chest was a gallop that swallowed my voice, and all I had was breath, and all I could do was wake up and live. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing those poems. I'm really excited to talk more about them during the QA at the end. And yes, thank you again, Ja'net. And I am going to drop your website one more time in the chat. And next, in this wonderful evening of poetry, we have Athena Nassar, who is an Egyptian-American poet, essayist, and short story writer from Atlanta, Georgia. Her debut poetry collection, Little Houses, is forthcoming from Sundress Publications in January 2023. I guess that's now out in the world. And her work has appeared in Academy of American Poets, the Missouri Review, Southern Humanities Review, Pleiades, the Chattahoochee Review, Salt Hill, Lake Effect, New Orleans Review, Zone 3, the Los Angeles Review, PANK, and elsewhere. So thank you so much, Athena, for joining us, and take it away.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to say thank you so much for having me. Today, I'm going to be reading a few poems from Little Houses, my debut poetry collection. And I'll just start now. Thank you, everyone. Not because they love me. The more I love a thing, the more I want to invade it. As a child, I would take my mother's hair, slick as the black eggs of a beluga fish, pressing it to my cheek, twisting it until it broke from her scalp. To bless myself, I drink from the well until the stones hold no water and my belly is a cold lake. The horseflies feed on my legs, not because they love me, but because I am a body of blood. On the floor of the Red Sea, my ancestors lie beside the reins of their horses. On the floor of my body, chariots lie under my veins that once pulled horses. I have been the colonized and the colonizer. I have been kissed, my lips parting for the oars of tongues, while countries are being fled. Before my father left Cairo, he gutted the trees of their olives. Each time I leave home, I make spoons of my hands and spear them into the bucket of rice my mother keeps by the window. There are always deer outside, their backs peppered with white spots, the many eyes of God waiting with their lids peeled back. Okay, so just for a little context for this next poem I'm about to read, it's dedicated to a guy I dated when I was a senior in high school, who had Asperger's. And I would also say he was probably the first person I ever loved in that way. So yeah, it's divided into 3 sections, and each section's title is a place that carries moments of recognition for me and our relationship. Marmalade. 1. Virgin Islands. On our last trip together, I am on a catamaran with him and his family. We're both sprawled out on this netting, the water splashing against our backs, and a crew member offers us these tiny sandwiches. He asked me to take a picture of him, and when he isn't satisfied with the first, he asked me to take another and another. I take over 100 pictures, but he claims each one looks like the embodiment of autism. He cries as the boat pulls into the dock and says, "You'll find someone much better looking who doesn't have Asperger's when you go to college." Because I love him, I fear I will have to take care of him for the rest of my life. My fear, a fat whale I hide in my gut. 2. Cherry Capital Airport. He says old people look like snapping turtles, and I see us walking through the grocery store, pushing our pudding-filled carts as if we are wading through quicksand. For now, we push only our suitcases, the planes landing on the tarmac like snowflakes. Outside, the cries of bluebirds rise above the coagulated membrane of cherry trees. 3. Seaside, Florida. He tells me to close my eyes and stick my hands out, but this is my greatest fear. When I tell him this, he laughs, says he wants a small wedding in Vermont and 3 children. He tells me, "You shouldn't be afraid of small creatures." So I close my eyes, make my hands a cradle to hold the ocean until it's still. A clear marmalade slides through my fingers, beautiful in its coldness. Later, I will learn these were jellyfish eggs and remember their arms that hung from their bodies like ruffled skirts, the bridal gowns they will wear until they are swallowed by something much bigger than them. Cockpit. Sometimes I think I could suffocate in this openness. My mother slept in Puente de Hobos with nothing but mosquito netting to protect her from the heat and the dogs and all the dogs in heat. The mosquitoes, fat with my mother's blood, still flew in and out of the holes in the netting. Even with those thick socks pulled up to her knees, she couldn't stop the world from picking at the flesh left exposed. I suppose this is why I pull the sheets tight over my bare body at night. I wrap myself like a basket of French bread and pray the girls don't know the warm scent of someone who is afraid of birth and sex and girls who fight like bulls. The sheets, crisp white napkins, create a veil over my head. In Puente de Hobos, they tie steel blades to the ankles of roosters just to watch them kill each other. My mother tells me this as she tosses some slaughtered bird in a bowl of flour, squishing her fingers into the meaty parts. The bird was an unveiled woman before it was a bird. The woman was open before she was unveiled. I imagine the roosters wrestling in a crowded ring and think of the first time I was called a whore. My mother admits she had been fed to the cockpit too, as she throws a battered leg into the frying pot. The oil jumps up, leaving chestnut-colored burns on the flesh of her wrists, but she just wipes the grease away and coats another leg in flour to feed to the bubbling. The performance. Someone wishes me a blessed solar return, and later that night, I blow out my candles, little wisps of smoke dancing around the puffed-up souffle. Sometimes I wish to be the man in the strip club with his hands behind his head, or rather the woman popping her perfectly round ass against his lap, a big-ass planet orbiting to the beat of Megan Thee Stallion singing body yaddy 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 yaddy. I wonder what it would feel like to undress myself to that kind of praise, to squat naked in the center of someone's universe and say, don't touch. On the streets of Paris, the woman they called the Hottentot Venus was purchased by a man who showcased her beside a rhinoceros. Those who passed would gawk at her full body draped in ostrich feathers, stick their hands through the cage to squeeze the fat on her hips. They pulled at her brown flesh as if she had the thick hide of the rhinoceros itself. She did not get to undress herself. This was done by the men who paid to strip her of her feathers. I do not wear feathers. When I give myself to someone, I am the one who gives myself back. When I blow out my candles, everyone's sitting wide-eyed around the table. There's a part of me that wishes to light them and blow them out, just to light them again. After the applause, I drag the knife through the souffle and pull it out, custard dripping from the blade. Okay, so this next poem is inspired by the TV show Killing Eve. And if you haven't seen it, it's about an investigator named Eve who becomes obsessed with catching this female assassin named Villanelle. And in the poem, I assume the POV of Villanelle, and it's titled Athena's Villanelle. Because in my collection, I have like a series of Athena as poems where I just assume a bunch of different roles. So yeah, this is one of them. Athena as Villanelle. I find myself on a couch cuddling with a Russian diplomat. I plan to blow him up when our TV show is over or on a commercial break. Nobody could have seen this coming. Me, a babe with a banging body, igniting the Big Bang in his body. A Russian diplomat imploding, a galaxy caving in on itself in the face of a woman who matters. Pile of matter in my hands, a cold-blooded collector of broken men, of silent bombs. Nobody heard the heart attacks in the sky before they saw a downpour of light, of female gods coming to bless or to bone them with their bedazzled wands, to carve their organs in pig masks and tulle skirts. Every man I touch turns to powder. Every body I enter turns flammable. Coming of age. Tonight, I eat my dog in a fever dream. The internet says I'm too young to have a heart, so I forgive myself for the slaughter. I let her outside for too long. I search for her somewhere between my house and the river where the dead fish lie, belly up. A heart should be there beating, just under the water, running with blue flesh. I do not claim to be humane in the coming of age film, where I bite off my mother's hand and grow into a better woman after I swallow the hand. I blame the mouth for its hunger. I blame the dog for running. Tonight, the river begs to feed on the marrow of some wild animal, its throat blue with transparency, with smaller rivers, with little tongues lapping at my feet. The internet says a dream is runoff from a past life. I stick my arm into the stream and pull out the meat of the world, thrashing its cold body against my wet face before slipping back into the stream. Nobody told me how to stop the crying after the push. I grow tired of looking for the living in the mouth of the dead. So I returned to my house without the dog, tuck my tail between my legs and asked for another dog, one with brown spots and no teeth. Promise I won't let her slip down into the river this time. Only this time I sleep tonight, my dog scratching at the door. Okay, this is the last poem I'm going to read. It's titled My Judgment Day. Don't you have any morals left to flock around your naked body in the grass like turkey vultures? Their cluster of heads, kidney bean red, their eyes little tomatoes. Don't you have any morals left to eat you and eat you, to hang you up on the cross and feast their eyes on your flushed face, on your head hung low? Don't you have any grief left to beat you while you cry out to the Heavenly Father, his palms pink from beating you? Don't you have any mothers left to bathe you in an ocean of cleanliness, in a hot spring of sweat pooling, in a pressure cooker of gods? Don't you forgive yourself for the nights with the men draped around your back like sheepskin, the men hung like curtains that open for you? Don't you enjoy yourself as you live in one night and another, as you inhale the day and hold it in your lungs, two swollen dates on the verge of bursting out of your chest? If the day is a vineyard, you are the crusher of grapes, your bare feet bleeding wine, your mouth bleeding a full and round laugh leaking into the night air, thicker than kissing thighs, much darker than heaven, much sweeter than the fruit jam between your toes. Don't you have any shame? A stampede of hooves to crush you, they crush you. Oh, okay, thank you.
That was fantastic. Thank you so, so much for reading your work and sharing that with us. I know our chat is pretty active, so I'm anticipating lots of questions from everyone. And this is the QA part of our reading. And while folks are collecting their thoughts, I do want to kick us off with a question I like to ask a lot of the readers that we have on, which is, what are you reading right now? What's inspiring you? It could be poetry or otherwise. I'd love to hear what's getting you excited and what might be on your bookshelf.
Well, I just finished Mag Gabbard's debut book of poems. It's called Sex, Depression, Animals. And man, it just blew me away. I really like anything where the poet is experimenting with form, and she experiments with form throughout the book. But I mean, it also has to be, obviously compelling material, right? Not just experimenting with form for experimentation's sake, but yeah, it is an outstanding book.
Yeah, well, I'm reading a couple of things right now. I'm going to Vanderbilt's MFA program in the fall. And so Major Jackson's going to be my mentor there. So I wanted to get a bunch more of his books. So I've been reading his most recent collection, The Absurd Man, recently, and I've just been loving it. And also I just got Then the War by Carl Phillips, since I saw that won the Pulitzer recently. So I was curious about that. I bet that's going to be wonderful. I've also been reading Chen Chen's new book, Your Emergency Contact Has Experienced an Emergency. And I love all of Chen Chen's work. And as far as fiction, I've been really loving Brandon Taylor. I'm reading his novel Real Life, but also I would also recommend his short story collection Filthy Animals. So yeah, that's what I've been reading.
I'm writing all of these down. Thank you.
And coincidentally, Chen Chen and Mag Gabbard are really good friends. They work together at the same university. So I love Chen Chen too. Good stuff.
Yeah, I feel like his poems are so playful, and I always want to I try to incorporate a certain playfulness into like my Athena As poems.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like we have a question in the chat. This is for Ja'net. I can read it out loud too for folks. The Murder Hornet poem displays your interest in and aptitude for etymology, but it also displays a powerful use of extended metaphor in a way that seems a new dimension for you. Is this new to your writing?
I don't know if it's new to my writing in general, like if I think about my whole life and all the poems I've written over the course of my life, but I think extended metaphor is used extensively in this new group of poems. And, because I found that I needed to use metaphor, extended metaphor in particular, in order to talk about my cancer experience. I mean, the Murder Hornet poem is not really about that, but it's about, a changing body, getting older, which is also kind of related to the cancer experience as well. And so there are a lot of poems in my chapbook and in the, I'm now working on a full-length collection that use extended metaphor. It just gives me almost like a new vocabulary for approaching these very difficult topics. I wasn't quite sure when I first started writing about my cancer experience how to approach that, because everything was coming out kind of like very literal and sort of emo and not not good poetry at all. Like, it was pretty bad. And so it really took me a while to figure out how to write about it, and metaphor, and in particular extended metaphor, gave me that path to do that.
It also seems kind of connected to your poem, Metastasis, because of that idea of, the connections between things. And when you stack up these almost like at first almost dissimilar scenarios or events or objects or items, like they start to become almost like these, you start building these connective tissues between them. And like that, I feel like those ideas are very connected. It's really interesting. Yeah, that poem is like, I keep thinking about it. It's very, it's an incredible poem. And I love that the etymology I did not know about. Yeah.
Thank you.
Do folks have other questions for the chat, or you can also feel free to come right off of mute too.
Ask us anything, or almost anything.
Well, I'll go again. Athena, I was wondering, you mentioned playfulness and being drawn to that quality in what you're reading right now. And I'm wondering where that comes in, because I feel that energy in your poetry as well. So I'm wondering where that comes in for you. Is that a starting place of inspiration of something, or is that something that you are also in the editing and revision process also thinking about that?
Yeah, I'd say, I don't know, I get a lot of my inspiration from I guess like rom-com, like I watch a lot of rom-coms, and just like sometimes I feel like my brain needs that. Sorry, what was the question about? Sorry.
I was wondering, yeah, first of all, that's really fascinating that rom-com, maybe if you wanted to say more about that, but also just, yeah, if playfulness is like a starting place for you, or if that's something you're thinking about, like in the process of writing poetry, does playfulness have a role? Because I think the end product, there is a playfulness in your work.
Yeah, I would say like, it's just a part of like my personality. So sometimes it just like bleeds through onto the page. Yeah, but then on the other hand, some poems are like very serious of mine, like My Judgment Day. Yeah, the first poem that I read, Not Because They Love Me. So yeah, I don't know. There's I have like a bunch of different kinds of tones that I grapple with and go back and forth. So yeah. Yeah, I'd say it just kind of, it comes through in the process of writing, I would say. Like I don't really like plan it out before. Yeah.
There are a few questions in our chat. So starting with Celia, do either of you, both of you, have tips for writer's block?
I would say, I mean, I don't believe in writer's block. I read, I think it was Camille Dungy wrote an article for Poets and Writers about quote unquote writer's block. I think it was her. And she said, you wouldn't say that you have exercise block, right? Because the cure, the cure for exercise block is to exercise. So I think it's the same thing with writer's block. You're going to have days where you're really excited about writing and you feel really inspired. And then there are going to be days where stuff doesn't come as easily, but I don't think that that's writer's block. I think that's just a natural part of writing. So, I mean, I have a bunch of different tricks. I love to collect articles, on random science facts. And most of the time I don't even read them. I bookmark them just based on the title. I actually had a joke with one of my friends that I could write a cento just from the titles of all the articles that are bookmarked on my computer. But I save those for when I'm not particularly inspired and I'm looking for something to write about, so I'll kind of start going through those. Using my etymology dictionary, when you're really stuck, just open up a dictionary and start reading and something will come up. I'm just inspired by so many different things. I mean, rom-coms, that's really interesting. I don't watch rom-coms at all. And I barely read fiction, to be honest. So I read a lot of nonfiction, I read a lot of poetry. But lately, what's been inspiring me are documentaries about musicians. I love documentaries about musicians. So I recently watched this fantastic documentary on David Bowie called Moon Age Daydream, which is just, it's so good. And I know that I'm going to write at least one poem from that. So yeah, I think just like getting it out of your head that writer's block exists. That would be my recommendation for how to get over it, and just treating writing like you would anything else. So if you go to the gym to exercise, you have to sit down and force yourself to write.
Yeah, I'd say the main thing for me that helps is just like picking up my favorite books and just like rereading my favorite lines that I've highlighted in poetry and fiction. That usually really inspires me.
Awesome. Michelle in the chat is wondering, when and how did you realize that poetry was something you wanted to do?
I could take this one. Yeah, so I went to an arts boarding school, Interlochen Arts Academy, my last year of high school. And that's when I really decided that I want to write like as a career. And yeah, we had to submit to these competitions like every week. And that's when I really started to I started on my book then. But yeah, just the people that I met there, I made like lifelong friendships, and I just loved it there. So yeah, that was definitely the time.
I mean, I started writing poetry when I was a child, but I'm not sure when I made the decision to really pursue it, very seriously. Maybe high school or college. I was always writing in high school, and then in college, I took a bunch of creative writing classes, and then I eventually went on to get an MFA. But yeah, it's really hard to say. I feel like it's been such a part of my life for so long that I don't remember consciously making that decision, to be honest. I know that's not a very satisfying answer, but it's the truth.
Yeah, I definitely can relate to relationships with other writers being a catalyst into the world and also sustaining you, like when you may have the fabled writer's block or anything else. I think that those relationships can be huge for keeping you feeling connected and feeling inspired. So I definitely can relate to that. We are getting more questions. I'm going to stay on top of these. Emily wants to know, what are you both working on now?
Well, I'm working on developing my micro chapbook into a full length. So the last thing that I wrote was This Body I Have Tried to Write. And now I'm trying to develop that into a full length book that will take, different turns. Micro chaps are limited in a good way, but they keep everything really, really focused. But developing that into a full length means viewing it as a different animal where it's allowed to kind of stretch and grow and take different turns. So that's what I'm working on. I hope to have that done by the end of the year.
Yeah, I've been for the last few months, I've been taking a break from poetry and working on some short stories actually. But I plan to start working on a second poetry collection probably later this summer and once I get into my MFA in the fall. But I'm thinking of doing a book of prose poems. So yeah, I read Victoria Chang's Obit and I was really inspired by that. So yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Victoria Chang, everything.
Yeah.
Everything Victoria Chang. Yes.
Love her.
Those both sound like really awesome projects. Growing a micro chapbook into a full length is, I think I would have a lot of follow-up questions about like, how does one? And then also, yeah, like being able to move between poetry and prose is easy to get. I'm intimidated by that. So to write in both of those ways is a skill for sure. We have one more, at least one more. There might be more. Brian's asking, how does pop culture affect your writing, literally, metaphorically, subconsciously? And Ja'net, were you devastated and did you cry from the horse fire in The Sopranos?
I'll answer the second question first. Yes, I was devastated. And I think I did cry a little bit. Yeah, it's funny because Brian, I actually know Brian. I've known him for many years and we were in an MFA program together. And back then I was not writing about pop culture at all. Maybe I had like one poem that had a pop culture reference. And so I've never really thought of myself as a person who utilizes pop culture in my work, but lately I do. I mean, my micro chapbook is 10 poems. And there are all kinds of pop culture references all over that book. And I can't explain it because it's not like I go seeking out that inspiration. It's just, like that 90210 poem. I had not seen that episode of 90210 since I was like 14 years old. And I hadn't thought about 90210 in all those years. And I was literally just eating breakfast one day and that episode popped into my head. I have no idea why. I have this obsession with 2001: A Space Odyssey. And again, that was a movie I had not seen since I was like in college a million years ago. And for some reason, it resurfaced in my brain. And now it's just a thing that I'm on. And it works its way into different poems in the microchap. So yeah, I think for me, it might be more subconscious, like it just kind of slips into my subconscious and then eventually resurfaces. And I don't know if it's that this is the big mystery, right? Do we notice things and then we kind of store them in our brain for later use? Like, oh, I'm gonna need that one day, like 20 years from now, I'm gonna need to pull that out of my brain and put it in a poem somewhere. I have no idea. It's such a great question. But it certainly helps with metaphor. I mean, especially as I'm thinking about extended metaphor and working that into my poems in this collection, those pop culture references really do come in handy.
Yeah, I draw a lot from pop culture as well. I have a poem, Athena's Princess Peach, which is like talking about, like Super Mario Bros. Yeah, I draw a lot from like video games too. Like I have a Call of Duty poem in my collection. Yeah, as I mentioned before, I draw a lot from rom-coms. Yeah, just film in general, TV shows. I've been loving Succession lately. So it's just so well made. So that always inspires me. But yeah, I draw a lot from pop culture.
We don't have much time left, but do either of you have questions for each other that you would like to ask?
I don't know if I have a question. I mean, I do want to plug Athena's book, because I'm reading it and it's so good, guys. Like if you haven't read it yet, you should totally get it because it is really, really good. And I'm so happy that we're reading together, Athena. Thank you for signing up with me.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
I dropped the link to that book, Little Houses. I would love to drop, Ja'net, do you have a link to your work as well? We should definitely get that in the chat for folks too.
Yeah, I'll go pull it from my website. Give me a second.
Oh, thank you. And yeah, I would encourage everybody to please support these two incredible poets' work. Follow what they're doing, read their books. It's just been such a treat to hear you both read tonight and to also learn a little bit more about your work. So I just want to thank you both again for reading. I want to thank everybody here for tuning in. We do have another Poets in Pajamas episode coming up on June 4th, also Sunday from 7 to 8 Eastern time, and it's on this Zoom channel. So you can follow our Facebook page, Poets in Pajamas, or our WordPress for updates and information about those readings. And hopefully we'll see everybody there as well. Yes, there's the link to the website. So yeah, please everyone check out both Ja'net and Athena's works. And thanks again, everyone, for coming, and thank you for reading.
Thank you. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks again.